everybody, welcome back to Prescription Bourbon. I'm DMC from Louisville, Kentucky. Today I'm doing a quick review of a couple of bourbons from Glenns Creek Distillery out of Frankfort, Kentucky. In particular, I've got their OCD number 5, which is their rye mashbill bourbon, and their Swheat bourbon, which is their wheated mashbill bourbon. Alright, I've already got these poured. Start by giving a couple of quick nosing notes. Then I'll give you a little bit more history of Glenns Creek Distillery. So this is the OCD number 5, the rye mash bill. Alright, it does have some oak, some rye spiciness, saltiness on the nose. Now, Glenns Creek is distilling with a pot still, so it's pot distilled whiskey. And both these come into 106 proof, 106 even on the OCD number 5, and 106.4 on the Swheat wheated bourbon. But yeah, it's a pleasant nose. It's got some depth to it on the Swheat. Definitely not as spicy. Not pulling out as much oak on this one either. Slight hint of some breadiness, but pleasant nonetheless. They're both nice. Looks like the OCD is slightly darker in color, but the mash bills on these on the OCD, it's 87% corn, 8% rye, and 5% malted barley. And then on the Swheat, they just replaced the rye with wheat, so it's 87% corn, 8% wheat, and 5% malted barley. So very similar mash bills, just one's rye, one's wheat. And the name OCD number 5, that stands for Old Crow Distillery. And the number 5 is a reference to where they got the yeast. They got a wild yeast strain out of the Old number 5 fermenter at the Old Distillery there. So I'll go ahead and give it a quick taste. Cheers. Right. Definitely some peppery spice on that. A little bit of sweetness, a little bit of caramel sweetness. The oak really comes through as a freshly fired oak almost. Almost can taste the charcoal in that. More than usual for a bourbon. Good mouthfeel, nice coating, good warmth going down, not super hot. Does linger a bit there too, so it's a lingering finish. Yeah, I mentioned OCD stands for Old Crow Distillery. So, yeah, Glenns Creek Distillery is at the location of the original Old Crow Distillery, which was built in 1879. What's currently Woodford Reserve was a James Pepper distillery, and Dr. Crow, James Crow, worked there. He's one that perfected the sour mash process of backwashing some mash from the previous batch and not starting with the fresh batch every time, similar to the sourdough bread making process. So, but anyways, the James Pepper Distillery built and opened the Old Crow Distillery right off Glenns Creek in 1879. But it was bought and sold a few times. Ultimately, wound up in the hands of Jim Beam, who had it in the 60s and 70s, and into the 80s. They eventually closed it and sold it off. They still own the Old Crow brand, so Jim Beam still makes Old Crow bourbon whiskey. Dave Meyer found the place in 2014 and bought it, and has been restoring it ever since. So it was originally sold for scrap metal. So all the distilling equipment and anything of any value as far as metal inside goes was stripped out of it, and then it was sold again for scrap wood. So a lot of the wood and stuff was taken out of the old buildings and stuff. So by the time Dave Meyer found it, 2014, it had been stripped bare. All the original buildings were not even there anymore. I forget how many are there now, and it might be like 7 or so of the original buildings. And he's been repairing and rebuilding them for the last 10 plus years. So, and he basically got his pot still in there and started distilling in 2015. So we're going on 10 years of age available to him now. He's been selling stuff for almost that amount of time, and he was sourcing stuff. He does have several other brands, and there's some MGP product, things like that. But he's also got some non-bourbon whiskey products. But these two are definitely 100% distilled, aged bottles right there on premise. So it's their own whiskey. Yeah, that's got a nice smokiness, char to it, nice spice level. I really like the OCD. Let me give the Swheat a taste. Cheers. All right, this has a good spice level too. The spice is different, hits the tongue on the edges, as a lot of wheat bourbons do, and it seems like almost more of a cinnamon spice than a peppery spice. Sweeter, absolutely. That's what a lot of people look for and expect out of a wheated bourbon, is a sweeter, not so rough experience. So that's nice. The oak is a lot less present on this one. So it's got cinnamon spice, slightly thinner mouthfeel, good warmth going down, about the same warmth going down, slightly less on the finish too, but it's a mellower experience. So this the rye is definitely spicier, and the sweet is definitely sweeter, so what you would expect. So yeah, it's an exciting brand. I'll try to put a map up here, but Glens Creek flows into the Kentucky River, and on Glens Creek there is what's now Woodford Reserve. There is the Old Taylor Distillery, which is now Castle and Key, just up the road from Glens Creek, and then there's Glens Creek Distillery, which is the Old Crow Distillery. So those three distilleries are all on Glens Creek, which flow right into the Kentucky River. Upstream of that is on the Kentucky River is Wild Turkey, and downstream of that on the Kentucky River is Buffalo Trace. So right there, within I don't know how many mile section of the Kentucky River and the Glens Creek tributary there, and you've got 5 distilleries right there in close proximity. So you've got Wild Turkey, Woodford Reserve, Castle and Key, Glens Creek, and Buffalo Trace. So pretty nice, all on the same waterway there. Yeah, these are nice. I mentioned that Glens Creek has some other options, some other brands that are offerings. One of them that I have tried before is called Cafe au Lait, and it's pretty much very much similar to the OCD number 5, but they also add some heavily toasted, I believe it's caramel malt into the mix, which gives it a strong coffee and or chocolate flavor, depending on your taste preferences. Some people you might get both. Some people get a lot of chocolate, some people get a lot of caramel or coffee. I definitely get the coffee. You can see the chocolate also. Real good buddy of mine, Joey Ashby, has been a fan of Glens Creek before I ever had got into it, and he's had several bottles of Cafe au Lait that he's had me taste, and he makes a mean old fashioned with that Cafe au Lait, with that coffee and chocolate notes. I think he even adds some chocolate bitters to it, and it's a crazy old fashioned to make with that. Love it. The other one that they've got now that they're getting to be 10 years old, and I think this just came out probably in the last 2 years, so after they had maybe 8 years of age on it, is their flagship bourbon is Puerto Vivo, which stands for Little Crow is alive. So, which is a play on words there, but and it is in a different shaped bottle. The Cafe au Lait is very same bottle as these. The Cuervito Vivo is in a tall wine, more of a wine shaped bottle, as you see a lot of other whiskey bottles in. So yeah, I've had a pour of that, just one quick sample of it, but it was very nice. But I need to get into that one a little bit more. So yeah, but Dave Meyer is doing some amazing things there. Like I say, they're constantly rebuilding. It says on this, handcrafted using pot stills. They're only barreling 1 barrel per day. They're basically saying that everything they release is basically a single barrel, which means they're all slightly different than each other. So, but yeah, really liking the nose on both these. They're definitely different. So the Swheat is definitely more muted than the OCD No. 5. The OCD definitely has more kick to it with that peppery spice. Better mouthfeel, better finish. Delicious bottle. And I can see where the Swheat could be more of a easy sipper. But it's got great flavors. It has a good finish to it also. And that spices there too. It's good. But it's a little underperforming to the OCD. All right, I hope that you liked what you saw here. Hit that like button. It really helps the channel. Hit subscribe. It helps even more. Leave some comments down below if you've tried OCD or not. Distribution is limited, I believe. It's definitely not nationwide. Certainly all their different offerings are not nationwide for sure. It is available around Kentucky. If you come to Kentucky, you can find it different places. You can order it at the distillery, but they do not ship. But they will let you purchase it, and they will hold it for you if you're coming to Kentucky. And you can purchase it in advance, and then go pick it up at the distillery. They do have a few tours. They've got a small little gift shop there. They love to talk to you. They have you can do samples right there on site too. Definitely an old historic distillery that they're rebuilding. If you get a chance to go, I'd recommend it. Remember, everybody, all bourbon is whiskey, but all whiskey is not bourbon. The best bourbon comes from Kentucky. Cheers.
Check